Hi everybody, this is a video I wanted to do for a very long time, but before I get into it, I wanted to let you all know that my commissions are still open. So if you want a gift, like a last minute Christmas gift for a loved one, I make art for cheap. So you can look in my description box, a link that will lead you to my commission prices. Anyway, I've been asked this topic a lot, and it involves the topic of art as a career choice. A lot of people have told me if art school is a scam, or is it worth it going to art school, because art school is very expensive, and this is not only counting the tuition but also the materials that you have to buy once you get to the art school. It's more than hundreds of dollars, plus room and board and other college things. It's probably more expensive than what a med student has to spend on a daily basis. So is it worth it? Well, first of all, you had to identify if what kind of artist you want to be, because this is the biggest decision one with the talent of the arts and crafts or sculpting or whatever. Do they want art as a business, or do they want art as a hobby? Because one of them, you do it for fun and because it makes you happy and it makes others happy, and the other is because you feel like you can make money out of it. So first you have to identify it in those two categories, whether you feel like your work can make a profit, or if you only like to draw because it's fun and it only fulfills you that way, and you don't want the for profit part to ruin your fun. If that ruins your work ethic, if that ruins your buzz, then I'd suggest to pick another career and just keep art as a hobby, because that's very important. Art schedules can be very, very rigorous, and even though there are self-employed artists and there are artists employed by a studio, you still have to have a schedule to get work done. So if you don't like working on a schedule, if you don't like drawing on a schedule, whether it's self-imposed or not, then choose another career or develop another skill that can go with your art skills to make money and to survive in this world. Don't just pick art because it's fun, because like every career, it's a lot of work. And if you just want to have fun, then that's fine, but just leave it as a hobby, or else it's gonna damage your fun. Anyway, once you identified that and you say, yes, I want to make a profit out of my work, then you need to identify what kind of artist you want to be, because there are a lot of categories within that category. Art is a very subjective term. It can mean many things. Now, I've been in 3 art careers in my soul searching, basically, and I settled for illustration last, but that was a lot of money spent on me trying to soul search. And at first I went to fine arts because it's a very general kind of place to be. It teaches you how to draw, paint, and sculpt. But then I went to computer animation thinking that it was more suited for my digital art. And then I went to illustration finally because I was more concerned about how things looked rather than how they moved. And computer animation is more for people with a mathematic kind of brain. So first you gotta identify what kind of art do you want. Do you want to work for an advertising publishing company? Do you want to illustrate children's books? Do you want to illustrate graphic novels or comics? Do you want to do everything? You want to be a jack of all trades, master of none? Or do you want to do art, which is put make a sculpture, make a painting, and put it on display in a museum for all to see and judge? You want to make a collection or something like that. Also, you have to identify whether you like drawing for the sake of self-expression, or do you like drawing for the sake of symmetry, or because you like perspective and you like all that, because then you can look into maybe architecture or graphic design or something more suited for that kind of left brain, logical brain. Because when it comes to a more self-expressive arts like fine arts and to a degree illustration, they require a more right creative brain rather than a more logical one. Like I mentioned before, computer animation is more for that. So you gotta identify and do your research of what kind of art do you want to do, and what kind of job do you see yourself in? Whether you want to work in a studio or be a freelance illustrator, it all depends. It's a vast ocean. And the thing is, I've seen so many people, so many students spending so much money in trying to find the right place. So you gotta look into the curriculums, and you gotta look into what they look for in a thesis or anything like that. But finally, I want to get to the topic of whether art school actually helps you or not. If it's a scam to get money or not. And to be honest, I think it's a scam to an extent, because especially nowadays with the internet and with social media, if you know how to advertise yourself well, if you know how to teach yourself art, because there's a lot of ways you can teach yourself online. You just need to know how and how to do it. You know how to train your motor skills, your digital art skills, your traditional art. You just gotta know how. And usually what helps is going to figure drawing studios, where you go to these workshops where they pose a model and you draw however you like. And usually those classes are not, but they're way cheaper than a figure drawing class in college. You can get that for less than half the price. So that's a choice that you have to make. If you have money to spend, and if you want to have a degree, and if it makes you feel better, then I would, maybe that's something to look into. But you can self-teach yourself art. And I'll leave some links below of some resources of how you can do this, and it'll come up as cheaper than a tuition price. However, if you want to be an architect, like the more left side of the brain kind of artist, architect, graphic design, computer animation, then I do suggest a degree in education, because it's a very competitive field, and a tuition could help refine your portfolio and give you the resources, like the computers, the technology, to do what you want. And their degree is more beneficial. But if you want to do art out of self-expression, if you want to be like Picasso or Dali or whatever, then there are other ways to do that, especially in fine arts. I think, even if I think that art school is kind of a scam, it is a bigger scam when it comes to fine art, because fine art, you really don't need a college education to do fine art. You can go to workshops, you can get books, you can get private tutors, you can go to an artist master's studio and watch them work. And there's so many ways and shortcuts you can get there. And that's the one branch of art, I think, that doesn't need a degree. The only reason why some people get into the degree is because the college gives them access to technology, because right now fine art is very into photography as well, and they need fancy cameras and all that, and the college can provide them. But other than that, it is not worth it at all. Usually back then, artists learned from the old masters in their studios how to paint and how to draw, and they would go out and draw landscapes and draw nude models on their own time. They did not do a rigid tuition ending with a thesis, because art, like I said, is self-expression. So how do you categorize that into a tuition, especially a 4-year tuition? Art is a process that lasts for years and years and years, and also every single person has their own way of improving an art. Just because you are in a 4-year program doesn't mean you're going to be a completely accomplished artist by the end of it. You still have to refine your motor skills. You still have to draw nude models every now and then to brush up on your anatomy. You still have to do all these things to maintain that level. It's not just this knowledge that just stays there. It's not like riding a bicycle where you always know how to ride a bicycle. With art, it's something you work at it constantly, which is why the 4 years and the grading somebody else's process based on everybody else, it's kind of inaccurate in my opinion. So I would find it more beneficial to look for other ways rather than a college tuition, especially since if you're short in money. Illustration, what I do is a more commercial form form of art, which I like because it's basically fine art but in a commercialized sense, so we make money and we don't starve to death, because fine arts, it has to do a lot with luck. So I'm not too sure if illustration needs a college tuition, but since my parents are willing to put the money into it and I'm already halfway there, then it's really hard for me to escape from it. So I want to see your opinions. What do you think about art as a career? Do you think that it's something that requires a college degree or a strong portfolio? Is it more about what you know, what you practice? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.